right, Misty, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it over to you. And yeah, go for it. Let's find out how to handle those customer objections.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, this is so exciting to be talking on this topic. Yeah, I really love this one. So this topic is responding to customer objections. So we're going to think of what are the objections that customers come up with, and then what are the actual answers. And I'm literally just going to give you the answers. So along the way, I'm sure that some of the answers, things are different now. When it comes to selling, things are different. Going back 10 years ago and more than that, we had Google, and even before Google, the customer came to the salesman, asked questions, allowed the salesman to ask them questions, and would listen to the salesman. I'll give you an example. It was only 15 years ago, actually 10 years ago, really, but from 15 years ago and then forward a few years until I started to have kids. Was that Jack's 12? So 12 years ago, I was working at Fantastic Furniture, and the main section that I sold furniture in was in the bedding area, and I sold mattresses. Customer would come in, they'd make one comment, which was, I don't sleep very well at night. Great, probably a mattress. How old is it? You know, I could ask them questions. It's possibly a mattress. How old is it? Probably need a new one. They'd tell me, I'd talk to them about mattresses. I'd get them to lie on the beds and it would all work just fine. They'd buy mattresses and out they'd go. Based off my instruction, they would do it. They would adjust a little bit according to, no, I need something a bit firmer or softer, but mostly based off my instruction, they would buy it. I then had babies, and about 7 years after that, so we're only looking at, well, probably less than 7 years after that. So probably about 7 years ago, I went back and I worked weekends at Fantastic Furniture in the mattress department, purposely to see how has sales changed. And so by being in the mattress department, I noticed that people would come in and they'd say, can I have this mattress? Can I have this mattress? Can I have, and they would just pick a mattress. And, you know, do you have it in stock? Can I buy it? And I'd ask them, do you want to lie on it? Do you want to see it? Do you want to see what that feels like? They go, no, that's just the one that I want. And they didn't care to talk to the salesman, or to have the salesman ask some questions, or to listen to the salesman, or to lay on a bed. They just did their own thing. So based off this, moving forward, what that says is, and I worked there for 1.5 years, and I would get into arguments with people about whether or not they should lie on the mattress and whether they should look at it and if they bought the mattress for the right reason. And yet I would still be looking into it, because I do like my experiments when it comes to selling. I would look into it and go, if you Googled all of this and found what you're after online, why didn't you just click and collect? And the truth is customers today, they can do all the research in the world, and they do it, and they do it on the computers with actual Google. Then they go to their friends and family members and treat them like Google to get more information. And when they decide what they're after, the reason they were coming into the store to buy it is because they didn't want a complete dry experience of, now I'll give the computer my cash and then pick it up at the other end. They actually wanted somebody who said, thank you for handing over the money. And really that was the only real reason that they wanted the salesman there, was to just say thanks for the shopping experience. Because see, they could have just clicked and collected, picked it up at the warehouse. Warehouse boys would have said thank you, but it's not the same as handing cash over. And so again, thank you so much for your patronage and thank you for coming out. So I did get into a few arguments with customers. I'm generally a nice person, but as a salesman, going back even 7 years ago, I felt I was more right than they were. And I've learned something over the years with how selling has changed. And the truth is we salesmen don't know as much as the customer, not now. Customers got so much experience of Googling for the right things, the wrong things, the good stuff, the bad stuff, that they actually know their problem and solutions to their problem way more than we will ever know, and we're not privy to it. So there's some things that have changed in the world where salesman doesn't get to ask questions now, but we do get to answer questions. So before it used to be the customer that answered questions, but now it's the salesman. Before the salesman could sell according to the features and the benefits and the results, but today we don't get to do that because the customer's already decided their own personal features, benefits and results. And I promise you, as salesmen, we can never dream up what the customer is actually looking for. I'll give you an example. Who remembers the ads for milk years and years ago when you were growing up that was, you know, valuable source of calcium, great for growing bones, good for teeth, right? Valuable source of vitamin C, whatever it was, great for teeth. Avoid osteoporosis later in life, right? But mostly it was targeted towards mums with small kids to help them grow better. As a mum, I have milk in the house for one reason. I have decided that my children will grow with or without the milk. And I do give them a lot of milk for the purpose of them not disliking it, because I know that I used to like it as a kid, but when I got out of the habit of drinking it, I stopped liking it. But I have milk in the house for one reason only. Around about dinner time, when I want them off the internet and I want them to sit down to whatever meal I have cooked for them, and these guys are now 11 and 12, and fussy but not fussy. They like what they like. They still resent the fact that every day I give them some sort of vegetable. And I get to hear the drama that comes with their opinion of the meal that I have spent all the time cooking while they have sat on their bums using the media. And so to stop them from yelling at me, I make them a hot chocolate. What's hot chocolate made from? Milk. And the only benefit that I get from having milk in the house is the children can't yell at me when they're holding a cup of hot chocolate. Do you know how hard it is to yell at someone with a full cup of drink in your hands? It's very hard because you shake it and it falls out everywhere. So the children stop yelling and then they stop, you know, quivering in anger. I now understand why the English actually do a cup of tea every time somebody is feeling emotional. They say, hang on, I'll just put on the kettle. Let's make a cup of tea, because you can be emotional while the tea is down, but when you pick it up in a very small cup that sits out like this, it slops everywhere. So you have to calm yourself a little bit. Point being is that times have changed. Customers make lots of comments and what seems like objections and says lots of things to we salesmen, and we have trouble overcoming that. Who's noticed that? That customers will say all sorts of things and it doesn't matter what we try to say, they're not listening to us anymore. Has anyone noticed that? And you feel like there is no way around this. They seem like they want what I have, but they have arguments at every step of the way. It's too expensive. I don't have any money. I'd love to do that. Are you joking? Who actually buys that? How did you come up with that price? Like there's all sorts of objections that come out. So I thought we'd have a look at a few things. I've got 3 lines for you to write down just for something. This is just general sales stuff for you to just know. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. Just understand that this is the system. While I didn't create it, life has created this for us. This is how the brain works. Just accept it, right? Customers make comments, not objections. A comment could be, piss off, I'm never paying that. It's a comment. Now, we salesmen treat these comments as objections, like, let me explain the price to you for a moment so that you understand. That's how we turn their comment into an objection. Their comment of, I'm never buying that, or I'm never spending money on that, it sounds like an objection, but it's not. It's just a comment. Quick question. How many, put your hand up if you've ever gone into the supermarket just to buy milk or bread, one thing, and then left with a whole shopping bag of stuff. And you're standing there with a shopping bag of $50 worth of stuff going, how did this happen? Right? I object to all of this, but clearly you don't, because you carry the bag load of groceries out. You sound like you're objecting, but you're complaining very loudly, and really complaint is just a comment, right? Lauren, you just putting your hand up for yes, you're agreeing, or you've got a question? Oh, you're agreeing. Yeah. I love it. I think that's great. But I just wanted to check in, right? So we do it all the time. We sound like we're objecting. I know on occasions on a Friday night, if I don't want to cook and Simon doesn't want to cook and everybody wants takeaway, right? The children will say, oh, let's have McDonald's. And Simon likes McDonald's, the boys like McDonald's. I prefer Domino's, right? I get outruled and they've gone, Mom. And Simon will say, Miss, can you just go down the street and get us McDonald's? Because Simon says, I don't want to do it. So could you do that for us? But I'm not eating the McDonald's. I object, I'm not going. As I grab the keys and the wallet and head out to the car, I also say that I'm not spending $46.35 on 3 hamburgers, chips and drinks I'm just not. As I hand over the $50 note, take less than $4 worth of change and drive home. I say I object. I object to all of this, but clearly I didn't. Because if I objected, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have left, or I wouldn't have spent the cash. So what I did was I said I was objecting, but I wasn't. I was complaining loudly, or ultimately just making comments about objecting, but not actually objecting. And you know why I end up buying it and handing over the cash, even though I'm saying I'm objecting? Because the salesman on the other side said nothing to me. She just let me do it all by myself. And here brings how we can help the customer and how we can use this to our advantage. So first one is customers make comments, not objections. We just have to know it, right? And we're going to learn how to use that in a minute. Here's another one. More people aren't buying than are buying. This is really important. What this means is you cannot convert everybody into a sale. There's a timing issue in a lot of instances. Some of it is general research. People just want to find out what it is, so they look into it later. They might be finding out for someone else. They might be curious because they've just met you. They haven't heard of it before. It's like going to Google. Just because we go to Google and look things up, just because we're curious about how much a Ferrari costs these days, doesn't mean we're ever going to buy one. We just get a little bit curious, right? So more people aren't buying than are buying becomes very important, which changes your sales problem, not from it changes your sales problem from a conversion problem, how do I convert everyone, to an advertising problem, how do I get more people to know about it? 1 out of 10 will buy easily or by themselves, which means you have to talk to 10 people to get one sale. So the secret becomes talk to the most amount of people you can and let the sales come through. Right? And here's another one, is it takes 3 to 7 times for somebody to talk themselves into something. So they have to be exposed to whatever it is that you're doing 3 to 7 times. Not you necessarily the whole time. Let's take Brianna as a great example. They only have to be exposed to the idea of social media or Instagram. They might run into Brianna once and go, oh, she's the one, I'm going to do it. But for every conversion that Brianna changes instantly when someone just meets her and says, Brianna, can I sign up with you? Means that they have spent all these other exposures talking themselves into it before Brianna turned up. So for each person that you convert instantly the first go, there's a good chance that someone else down the track might take 10 times of meeting you before they convert themselves. And trust me, the customer converts themselves. We don't have to do anything about it. Let's take groceries as a quick example. I like going back to the grocery store. There's only 2 places, no, 3 places. Someone told me a third one the other day. There's only 3 places in the world where we go, we have absolute intention of buying before we leave. Grocery store is one. I mean, even if we say, I'm only getting this one thing, and if it's not there, I'm leaving without it. Very rarely do we leave without spending something at the checkout on the way through. Happens every now and then, particularly if we go without the kids. We can do it every now and then, but we've got to be pretty strong before we head in the first place. The next place is food and beverage places, anything hospitality-wise. Very rarely do you go into a cafe without the intention of buying something. You're going to get a food or a drink of some description. Same with a restaurant. You might look at a few menus at different restaurants, but the intention is to eat something somewhere. So you might go into one and leave, but that's only because what's on the menu isn't quite what you're after. But you're not intending on not eating for the rest of the night. And petrol station. Think about it. You don't go to a petrol station with the intention of not buying fuel. That's the only reason to go there. Which reminds me, I didn't get ice for my husband today. I am probably going to find out about that at 9 o'clock. So another reason to go to the petrol station, ice. But you know, that's rare. Petrol is what you go to the petrol station for, right? So we customers, we do it to ourselves. Here's how groceries sell themselves to us. They sit on a shelf with a price. And because they don't talk to us, we get to buy. Even if we complain to them, like, why is your price that now? That's not what it was before. I don't want to pay that now. And why aren't you on special? And why is that one on special? And we can have these arguments with the stuff on the shelf all day long. It will sit there silently and let us pick, and we will do it all by ourselves. So now let's have a look into some of these objections. So any comments or observations at this point before we jump into what are the objections that come up? Nice. All right. So what are some objections that you get? And just with show of hands, just put hands and I'll just grab some of them. What are some objections that you get that you have trouble with? Yep, Brianna. Yep, all your hands. Fingers and toes.
I wish I was an octopus sometimes. So I get a few. I get, I could just look it up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously not a cost thing. That's obviously just, I can look it up on YouTube. The second one is, can you guarantee me sales?
Mm-hmm.
The third one is, how will you measure my ROI? And the fourth one generally is like, can you just do one-on-one session with me?
Can you do one-to-one session?
Yeah, so like I generally say, personally, a minimum of 3, because I have a set plan of what we would cover in those 3 sessions. And there's people that just want one-on-one session. And yes, I do it, but I say very clearly, like, you will not achieve a lot in 55 minutes when we're talking social media strategy.
Okay. All right. That's a good answer, by the way. That's a really good answer. Yes, I can. You may not achieve what you're after, but I can do 1 session. The secret becomes stop talking, let them think about it. All right. Quick question. How much is it for one-to-one session with you?
$197. And
Right.
I was hesitant because if it comes from a referral, I do it cheaper.
Right. So stop doing that. Just 197 is 200. We're going to call it 200. How much is it for 3?
Oh wait, sorry, wrong. 297 for 1 session. That's 297 for 1 session.
Yep.
And I think for 3 it's like 5 something.
Right. Let's call it $600.
Let's do that.
All right, for the sake of this, right?
Yeah.
So it comes down to this. 3 sessions cost $600. And someone says, can you do one-to-one session? Yes, I can. It's $300. But 3 sessions is $600, right? Yes. So it costs more to do 1 by itself. Yes. Okay. Let them sort it out in their own head, right? If you do feel the need, salesmen always feel the need to give extra words. But in your instance, if you feel the need to give extra words, these are them. Yes, I can do 1 session. I have found that in the past, most people don't accomplish what they're after in 1 session. That's why I do 3. Then stop talking. Let that person take that in. And they might be like, no, I'm a pretty fast learner. Or no, I've already got half of it covered anyway. But if they already know what it is, like if they already believe, there's no point changing. Don't try to change their mind. You just give them facts. Right? I find that most people can't achieve it in 1 session. That's why they need 3. It costs $600. I can do 1 session. It's $300. Now they'll work it out themselves. If I get 1 session, find that I can't do it and I need the other 2, how much is that going to cost me? You get to say $600. Is that $600 on top of the 3? Yeah. Because that's like 2 more sessions, right? But they'll say, but that's going to be an extra 3 sessions. Yeah. So I get 4 sessions. Yeah. They'll work it out. Notice what I did though. I answered very quick for each one of those answers. Stop talking at the end of each one. And notice my answers were yes, 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 no explanation. As salesmen, if we can answer a question in yes or no, or I don't know, those are your 3 top answers. When it's a price question, just say the number, no explanation. Right? So it does mean you have to know the price, which I caught Brianna on the back foot there because she's gone, oh, hang on a second, right? But that's okay, right? So long as you know it, because it was a great example that I got her on the back foot because we all got to see it. So we now know in advance, just know your numbers. Because when someone says, how much is it? That's all they're after. They're not after your thoughts or opinions or whether or not you can remember or not. They're just after a number and they're not after an explanation.
I'm always here to be an example for you, Misty.
I know, it was perfect. You actually taught us something really great.
I'm tired, leave me alone.
That's why I picked you, right? All right. But then other than that, yes, no, or I don't know. Here's an objection. What's the difference between you and someone else? So Brianna, what's the difference between you who charges $600 for 3 sessions and the guy down the street that charges $300 for 3 sessions? Here's your answer. I'm
Knowledge.
not even going to have you guess. I don't know.
Am I answering that?
Yeah, no, I'm telling you the answer right there.
Oh,
The answer is
okay.
this. I don't know. That's it. Don't ever get into the discussion of the difference between you and someone else. It's only going to end up nasty in that they're going to come up with excuses not to buy. And depending on where you end up saying is like, and I've heard this so many times where someone will say, oh, well, you see, I'm really good at, or I'm better at, or clearly they don't know as much as me. Who are you talking about? You don't want to be describing yourself as better than somebody else. I mean, you can say, well, I'm the world's greatest sales trainer. I don't consider it untrue. Someone else might. I don't consider it untrue. I can argue that out all day long. But the point is you don't want to get into an argument with someone about someone else's personality or your thoughts on their products, particularly if the other person hasn't even told you the other person's stuff. I had someone the other day for fun turn around and said, well, I don't know if you're the greatest. I mean, you know, Jim Smith that's down the street. And I just said, I don't know who Jim Smith is. Right. So it's only a difference between my thoughts and theirs. Point being, you don't want to get into an argument with someone about someone else. It comes to this. If Google was asked, what's the difference between Brianna and the guy down the street? What's Google going to say? Because Google can't answer that. That's right, Kathy. Google can't answer that. Who do you mean? Who's the guy down the street? Who are you even talking about? Right? If we can pick any life coach at all, someone do life coaching here just by chance? Someone do any sort of any coaching? Yeah, let's go with Alison, right?
Yep.
Alison, Jody, yeah, right? So if you ladies, what's the difference between you and Tony Robbins? Who wants to get into that fight? I wouldn't, right? The answer is, I don't know.
No.
Let's ignore the fact that he's like a giant and a man, because it's a pretty obvious difference, but I don't know. That he has $1 million compared to you, maybe, but the real difference is you don't know, because from what angle are they asking? Is it price? Is it the person? Is it the personality? Is it the type of coaching? Is it the problem that they solve? Truth is he can probably solve the same problem that you guys solve, in which case there's not a huge amount of difference. He just does it differently because he's Tony Robbins and you're not, right? What's the difference between, if I have a sore back, what's the difference between me going to the doctors and getting medication, going to a massage therapist for massage, going to a let's say a cosmetic surgeon for a breast reduction, or going to Janine for a new bra? What's the difference? The only difference is the choice of how I want my back to stop hurting, but all 4 will probably give me the same result. I just get to choose. So all these 4 different places, medicine, breast reduction, massage, and a well-fitted bra, will all help alleviate back pain. It comes down to the customer's choice of what they want as a solution, but these are all solutions to the same problem. When a customer comes to you and is talking to you, they've actually picked you more than 50% of the way than anybody else. So of everybody else on the planet and the internet, they've found you. So our job becomes not to break the sale that they've created in their head. And this answering of their so-called objections becomes it. So Brianna, you had a great one. So your one-to-one sessions, just keep it short and tight and just give them their choices based off facts. Yes, I can, and you can add. I've found that most people need 3 sessions, but if you're a fast learner, you can do it in one. It costs $300. Right. What if I need an extra one? It'll cost $300. What if I need 2 more? It'll cost $600. Right. Or I could get 3 in one hit for 600, right? Yes. Okay. They can sort out the maths. As salesmen, we don't have to explain maths. They can do it. People have made it this far in life. They know maths, right? How will you measure my ROI? Well, that's a question for you. You just have to answer it really fast because each person will do that. Can you guarantee me sales? What's the answer?
No,
No.
you can't guarantee anything in life.
Correct. You cannot guarantee anything, right? So when a customer says, can you guarantee me sales? The answer becomes no, stop talking, let them sort out. What does that mean to them? And there's nothing you can do about what that means to them. But the answer is no, you cannot guarantee it. So there's no point trying.
So you don't give an explanation, you literally just go no.
Just say no. Imagine if you were the customer and you went to Alison. No, let's go to Anne. Let's go to Anne. Anne does branding, right? And you did personal branding. If I turn around and fix up all my branding and make everything look great on social media, can you guarantee me more sales because my branding looks great?
No.
What does that mean to you, Brianna?
Well, I wouldn't ask that stupid question in the first place. So when I have
That's not the point, right? The point is you won't actually have it. Who has a problem with that answer? Who put themselves in Brianna's shoes and thought, okay, well, if I'm getting branding from Anne to fix my social media, can you guarantee me more sales? If Anne turns around and says no, then you have to think, well, what does that mean to me? Okay.
I think that's too abrupt. Like I feel the need to comment.
Yeah, that's because you're a salesman. But from a customer's point of view, we don't need to. Think of again as Google. Customers gotten so used to getting Googled answers, but that's what they're after. So if we went to Google and said, can you guarantee me more sales if I fix my branding through Anne? What's the answer that Google's going to give? Who knows? Google's going to cross out a lot of words and then make up its own question and then some sort of answer. And we're going to read it and go, I don't think that that's the answer I was looking for. Let me see if I can ask a better question. And ultimately, that's where you sit with the customer. If you answer a question not the way that the customer wants it, it allows them the chance to ask a better one. Right? And some of their questions will appear argumentative from their end. Now, here's an interesting concept. Because it's an adult, we think they're arguing with us and we tend to want to get into a bit of an argument, like, why would you ask that? Why are you being a dickhead? But if we imagine that that person is like 7 years old, would you get into an argument with a 7-year-old who said, how come you can't guarantee me sales at the end? You wouldn't argue with a 7-year-old. You would try to explain that it's built off other things. Well, at the very least, you would try to use as least amount of words because their concentration level won't last that long. And you'll be very nice about it. And yet somehow in life, as we get older, we seem to think people are having a go at us when they don't understand something. So they ask us a question. Sure, they probably have a tone in there that we have misjudged, but the tone is frustration on their part for not understanding, probably more so than frustration with us not doing what they want. Think of the times you've gone to Google, asked for an answer and gone, okay, let me come up with a better question. God, why don't you understand what I'm saying? And we've had to ask a question a number of different ways to get our answer as well. We get frustrated with Google, but Google doesn't care. It just sits there silently and just, I'll just wait for the next question. See if you can do better. Oh, you're not going anywhere, right? So customer is the same. Customer just gets to take on the feedback. So when a customer asks a question, it's their question, therefore their answer to interpret and work out what does it mean to me. And then chances are they'll ask another question. If they're not buying, they'll ask another question. I can look it up on YouTube. Here's a good one. I like that one. I can look it up on YouTube, which means I can do this for free. What's a good answer for that? I can look it up on YouTube. Janine, what's the answer?
Yes, you can.
Here it is. Yes, you can. It comes down to this. Why are they in front of you in the first place? I mean, if they've picked you to talk to and they can already look it up on YouTube, if you agree with them, they're still stuck with but I don't want to look it up on YouTube.
Or they haven't found the answer that they want.
Sorry, Anne?
Or they haven't found the answer that they want.
That's
or
right.
don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, or they don't know what question to ask. So yes, you can look it up on YouTube. And that's it. Yes, you can. Stop talking. Let them work out what that means to them. You'll find most of the time the customer go, yeah, okay, cool. So I've looked in this a few times. I really couldn't find, I could do it. I actually can't be bothered. You know what? I'll hire you. Here's some other things that come up is I don't have any money. Who's found that one before? I don't have any money. Here's your answer. I understand exactly how you feel. That's it. Right? In the past, traditional sales training, I'm aware that my alarm went off. So in the past, traditional sales training would teach the salesman that when someone said they didn't have any money, it was a salesman's problem and the salesman's problem to deal with, which meant that the salesman had to come up with payment solutions, which is great. When I worked at Fantastic Furniture, we had payment solutions. It's called lay-by. It's called interest-free card. It's called a credit card. It's called getting a bank loan. We have all these different solutions and people use them. But the truth is if the customer doesn't have any money, they're telling you, I don't have any money. But what they're telling you is, I don't have any money right now for this thing because I hadn't thought of it until right now. Or I don't have any money right now because I just had Christmas holidays and I spent it all, right? It doesn't mean that they can't get money. They just happen to say out loud, I don't have any money. You put that back on them. I understand how you feel. Stop talking. It allows them to process their mind. Okay, great. Well, sometimes they say, I don't have any money. It could be a ploy to get a discount. But if you say, I understand how you feel, they get to sit there going, shit, I wanted a discount. Now I feel like I can't ask. I should have just asked for a discount. That's all right. I'll pay it. Right? It might be that they'll tell you exactly why they don't have any money or how long it'll take for them to get it. But if they don't have it, they don't have it. Your job as a salesman is not to argue with them or help them find it. Who loves it when they go in to buy something, the salesman goes up to it, just show of hands, goes in to buy something. Salesman comes along, you say, I'm just looking. And then the salesman keeps following you and hassles you and says, and you say, oh, I don't have any money right now. And then they keep coming up with solutions for you. Who loves that? Everyone puts their hands up. Right? Crazy, isn't it? We people don't actually like it when someone tries to come up with ideas for us as if we can't do it all by ourselves. So if you give it back to the customer to work out the solution, they will have an idea. I've just got to ask my husband for that. All right, who's got the answer to that? Someone besides Janine. Who's got the answer to, I just have to talk to my husband?
Find another husband.
Sorry?
Find another husband.
Well, there's one way to do it. Yeah, no, don't talk to him. Right? The answer is this. I agree you should. What do you think he'll say? And even if they laugh and say, no, really, I do. Yeah, no, seriously, what do you reckon he'll say? Make them think about it. Sometimes it's an excuse to get out of shopping. It could be that they've backed out of the sale. Sometimes it's because they've lost confidence that they should spend money. Sometimes they need an excuse and they want to blame the husband so that then they don't have to say, I don't want to buy it anymore. But sometimes they just say it out of habits and then realize later, I didn't need to ask him. I could have just bought it. So it's just a habit. But if you make them think about it and answer, all sorts of answers can come out as well. Even he's going to say no. He's been saying no about it for 20 years. Great. What do you think? It opens up the conversation. And what do you say? Well, I'm tired of waiting. Actually, I'll just buy it. I'm not going to ask him anymore. I'll just buy it. So it allows the customer to really think about what it is that they're after. Very rarely does someone actually have to ask to get the answer. Sometimes it might be, well, see, my husband was doing the banking yesterday and I actually don't know which credit card I'm supposed to use. So, because he was mucking around with the banking. So I just got to ask him which card to use. All right, but the sale's going to go through. Oh yeah, that'll go through. But they don't realize that they deferred the sale to some other time, which puts the salesman off to never follow up with as well. Right. And here's one more. When the customer says that they can't, let them go. Like, let them go. I really want it, but I can't buy it today, or I can't buy it this week, or it's not something I can probably get anytime soon. Just say no problems. If you let them go easily and give them a way out, they can come back easily. if you try to convince them to buy now when they're not ready, then it's hard for them to change their mind and come back to you. They might change their mind and go back to somebody else though, but just not you, because you made it too hard for them to walk away. And often what happens when you let them go is they think, oh, no, I don't mean I'm not ever buying. If you say no problems, I'm not ever buying. I just, hang on, let me explain myself a bit better. Just let them get their words out. Customers will, because we do it all the time, they will talk themselves around. And often when you let them go, think of it like this. I really wanted to buy it, but actually something's happened and I just can't get it right now. No problems. No problems. You just leave it at that, right? That thing, or it might be, let me just pick somebody who's a massage person. There we go. Jody, isn't it? Yep, does massage. Or did do massage for 20 years, helps the, yep. So let's say it was massage, right? So so with you, Jody, oh, I've got a sore back. Do you need help with that? Actually, yeah, it'd be kind of nice to have a massage. Why don't I book you in this week? Oh, no, I think I'll get that. Just say, no problems, let me go. It means every time I'm doing something, I'm not going to forget all about this. Every time I do something and my back hurts just a little bit, I'll be going, that massage would fix that, I reckon. That'll fix that. I could just call Jody and fix that. It will play on my mind. If you let me go easily, I will find that problem will show up everywhere all the time. And then I'll start to talk myself into it because I don't want to put up with that problem anymore. All right. Questions? Or have you got an objection that I haven't come up with an answer for yet? Yep, Anne.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's an objection, but I did come across a strange one the other day. I sell on Etsy a candle wax calculator, which basically is a spreadsheet that works out what you need for any container. I had a message from a possible customer who told me that she couldn't work out the formula. She hasn't purchased it yet. Would I please send it to her before she bought the calculator? I haven't answered it yet because I'm not sure how to.
Okay.
So would I give her the formula?
No. Oh, you can give her if it's just a formula, you can just give her the formula.
Yeah, but the formula, that's what works. That's what the calculator does. So if I give her the formula, she doesn't need the calculator.
And the calculator is the thing that she has to buy?
Yeah. So what it does, no matter what you've got, if you've got a cup or a pot, or as long as you put in the mils that the container will take, the formula works out how much dry wax you need, how much fragrance oil you need. It's a very simple process.
How much
but
is
you've
the
got to know
calculator?
the formula.
And how much is the calculator?
$7.
No.
Right. Yeah. Right. So the calculator is the formula, right?
Yeah.
Right. So can you give me the formula without buying the calculator? The answer is no.
No, that's what I'm saying. I haven't answered it because I was on.
That's the answer. There's your answer. No. Right?
Never before have I had that one.
Yeah. So that becomes your answer. Just one word. No. No explanation. No. Yeah. She's either going to go, oh, well, then I need to buy it. Or she's going to go, well, she was rude. Tell a bunch load of people about how she's not buying something that she had no intention of buying from a person who wouldn't just give it to her.
That's right.
But she don't want any of her friends anyway, so don't worry about it.
No, but I was gobsmacked. I read it about 3 times. I went, no, she's not asking for the formula.
Look, here's the truth. She's just asking because she doesn't really understand what it is that she's getting in the first place.
I suspect you're right.
If you just answer with no, that's it. I had one come up the other day in sales class where we're practicing in sales class. Oh, that sounds like me. When somebody makes a comment and says, oh my God, that sounds just like me. And the answer becomes, do you need help with that? Yes, I do. Great. How about I book you in for an appointment? It'll cost you $200, right? For this particular person, that was it, right? And so there's a woman, Pat Gross, for those who knows, she does, she's a grant writing expert. And so as we were practicing this for her to say, just book them in for a consultation, she said, no, I just want to give them my price list when someone says, oh, I need help with that. Yeah. Do you need help with that? Yes, I do. She says, here's my price list. I said, don't give them a price list so they have to work out where they need help. book them in for a consultation like a doctor would, find out what their problem is, then give them some solutions and give them the price list. But book them in for a consultation first. She said, but that's $200. I don't care. They either will pay it because they need the help or they won't pay it because they don't need the help. But the customer doesn't know if they need the help yet because they don't know the consultation, the price. Just tell them, right? Anyhow, as we were running the class, she got a message come through on her phone where someone said, I really need some more help to understand about grants and grant writing. I'm thinking of doing something for some events. Can I book in a chat with you? And I said, yes, just write back. She said, what do I answer to this? Write back and say, yes, how about I book you in for a consultation this week? It'll cost $200. Pat says, but they're never going to pay that. Don't make decisions for a customer. Customers ask straight up. She said she only asked for a chat. She just doesn't know what to call it. And here's my point, like with you, Anne, is the customers ask a question that to them makes complete sense. But to us salesmen, we actually aren't quite sure. Our job is not to interpret what they're asking. It's to answer their question directly and leave them to work out, does that answer fit? Yes or no? Do I need to ask another one? Do I drop the idea? So for you, the answer is no. Can I have it without buying it? No. For Pat, with hers, can I book in for a chat? Yes. I've got room for a consultation this week. It'll cost $200. Just because the customer called it a chat doesn't mean they're asked for it for free. That was just a word they use. They don't know to use consultation or booking, perhaps. Or maybe all they want is a 5-second chat. Who knows? But until you throw the idea out to the customer, there's no way of you or them knowing. So just answer their question directly. Any take-homes? Who's got some take-homes from this? Actually, I'll just go around and ask. Bree, which take-home?
Actually, can I ask one more question?
Say again.
Yep,
Can I
go
ask
for it.
one more? I was just waiting. I didn't want to ask any more if other people had questions, so I was just sitting here quietly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can ask another question.
I mean, I'm never quiet, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing that I wanted to ask was, is that when Anne said no, obviously from what I've met Anne, she's not rude, but if I say no without a comment following back, I do feel rude because I feel the need to not just, I suppose, back up what I'm saying and show that my product or my service can help them, but I just feel like those one-word answers can be quite abrupt. I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah. And I just don't know how I would get myself if someone said, you know, can you guarantee me sales? And I just said no. I'd love to be able to say, well, what I would generally say is, no, I can't. But just like if you put an ad in a newspaper article or you did a Facebook ad, there's no guaranteeing of sales there. Like I feel like I need to support my decision.
Yeah. So that's you and your feelings.
Yeah.
But the
100%.
customers ask it. My point being is the customers ask a question they've asked a question on what they need an answer for. They're not asking you and your feelings. They're not asking any of that. They're asking it for a factual answer. Can you guarantee me? No. You can't get around that. Ever.
Yeah.
The answer is no. So they're asking a question because they need a fact. Can I or can I not? They don't need reasons. They just need to know, can they or can they not? It's a fact. So everything, I'll get to you in a second, Helen, everything is, when a customer asks a question, they're only after facts. You have to turn everything into facts, regardless of your emotions. It's all, these are your emotions. There's a difference. There's a reason why a 16-year-old apprentice hairdresser, first year, has trouble selling $25 shampoo, whereas a 10-year veteran hairdresser doesn't. And the difference is the time of getting used to hearing people ask questions about how much does it cost, right? Oh, I was thinking of getting some shampoo. How much is it? A young girl will go, oh, well, it's $25, right? Because she's not used to saying it. The veteran hairdresser will go, it's $25. They just get over the fact that stuff costs money. Over time, you will get over that question being asked, can you guarantee? In 10 years' time, you just go, no. Because you get tired of answering that question when in the end, that's the end. So by bringing this up here now is you're going to eventually get to that point anyway. So if I tell you what it is now, through trial and error, you still get to have those feelings. You just get to know why and
Yeah.
you get to fast track through those feelings. But the customer isn't asking for your thoughts or feelings. They're asking for a fact. And the answer is
So
no.
how do you take, because you're obviously extremely good at this, but how do you take the emotion out of it? Because I did have someone that came to me and they're like, you came recommended, Bree, you know, they raved about you. You know, I've got a son that's having a few, you know, issues at the moment. I've got this, I've got that, I've got this. And I just wanted to honestly, like, I just genuinely wanted to help them out. Like, I was so close to like offering my services for free, except I have a business as well. And I need to, you know, look after my family. But I genuinely just like, you know, wanted to help her. And I was so close to giving her a discount then. And how do you not get into that? You know, like, how do you not?
Practice is one. Practice is one. We salesmen, we tend to practice with the customer, which is why I have the group sales classes as practice, because we practice with the customer. And when the customer doesn't buy, we blame the customer, but it's not. It's because we practiced and got it wrong. Because we don't have anyone else to practice on. Selling is the only thing you actually need another person to practice with. Piano, you just pull out the piano and start playing. You know, cooking, you're just going to do it. Everything else, you can just do everything by yourself. Selling, you need another person to practice on, because you've got to get thoughts and emotions and people's opinions and looks on their faces, good and bad, but we have to practice with another person. So through practice, you will just get better at it. I try to turn it into, it's like the weather, right? Have a look at the weather for tomorrow morning. Get out of bed, have a shower, look at the weather and go, what's the weather going to be today? Now, you can either believe the weather or not, or you can like what the weather says or not. But the truth is, what the weather says it's going to be is probably smack on. And if you don't wear clothes appropriate to what it says the weather's going to be, it's going to ruin your day. Because if you don't carry a jacket and it says it's going to be 16 degrees or 6 degrees in Sydney, like, you're going to need a jacket. And if you don't take it, your day will be ruined because you'll be cold the entire time. You can choose to believe it or not. It just is what it is. So practice is the main thing. How do you get better at it? It's just practice. But you can practice at home with the kids. Get them to say, you know, ask me questions, tell them what questions to ask, and then you answer them. So I want you to say to me, you know, can you guarantee me results? And I'm just going to say no. And get them to ask over and over and just get used to it, and then have a reaction. Why can't you guarantee it? Because I can't. And then, so you just get to practice that way. Helen, were you going to say something?
Well, just with what Brianna was saying about and the no answer, if the customer wants to know more, I suppose it really opens the option for them to ask questions. Well, why can't you? What am I going to get for my $600 or whatever? So it actually allows them to get it clear in their head by asking more questions.
There's going to end up one of three results. Let's take that no answer. One of three results. Can you guarantee me results or sales? No. Okay, that's all I need to hear. She can't guarantee results. I want it anyway. I'll buy. Mm-hmm. Or it'll be, she can't guarantee me results. Fine, then I'm not buying and I'm not doing it. Or, okay, so she can't guarantee me results. Let me see if I can ask a better question and see if I can find a loophole in there that's going to give me results, right? And so they'll keep asking. So notice this, it now becomes the salesman's job to get really good at answering questions. But we have to answer questions like Google, because our job isn't to ask questions anymore. It's just to answer their questions. Now, there is a moment in time where we have that opportunity to ask questions, but it's only if they're not buying straight away. And we're not doing that one here in class today. But if they're not buying straight away and they're still just collecting the data and, oh, okay, I think I'll think about it some more, there's an opportunity in there to ask some questions, to either let them go, ask some questions, or be able to go back and ask questions later. But if we answer their questions, most of the time, the customer is already tracking towards the sale. If you answer their questions short and fast, then they can buy. So end answer becomes practice will have you better at answering fast with no explanation. And remember this, it's only you, the salesman, who feels that you need to explain. Customer most of the time doesn't need it. Who's been in a sales situation before where you've asked the salesman one question, thought that you just thought, I just want the answer, and they're talking, going, oh my God, I just want to buy it. Like, stop talking to me now. Like, to the point where they talk you out of buying it because you're tired of listening to them talk. That's us all the time. answer fast, the customer will ask more questions. And if they don't, then they're not ready to buy anyway. Quick thing that you said though, Brianna, in regards to this particular person, you felt bad and you wanted to give it away. This is for everybody. When somebody, particularly when you're a sole trader and you've got something that you want to sell and you really believe in it and you want to help heaps of people, here's what will happen 100% all the time is when someone is very excited by your thing that you sell, you will fall in love with them and want to just give it away. It just is how it is. Understand that that will happen all the time. And that's okay. Doesn't mean you can give it away, but you will fall in love with them and want to give it, just give it away. Here's the problem with giving it away. The other person won't use it properly. And it's not because they don't value it. Oh, I hear this all the time. Customer doesn't value it because they didn't pay for it. No, the customer is embarrassed that they didn't get to say thank you for the favor you gave them. Cash is an easy way for a customer to say thank you because they don't have to think anymore. I gave you money, you gave me thing, I can use it and I'm happy now. If you give away your thing and you're known as the leader in that space, and I have learnt this the hard way over many years, right? And if you feel the need to give it away, then just change your price to really low. And they will say thank you by giving you cash, and they will take it and they will say wonderful things about you. You get paid, they get their help. But if you give it away, they'll be too embarrassed to use it, which is worse because now nobody gets any help. And they would love to say great things about you, but they're embarrassed. So it's not that they don't value it or you. They're just too embarrassed that they got it for free because they know that they want to pay for it and you deserve better. And you took it away from them, their ability to say thank you. So keep your price exactly as it is and let the customer do their own work for themselves because that's what they're trying to do anyway. All right.
Thank you.
I'll leave it.
All right. Yeah, we're almost at the end. I can listen to Misty all day. Let her go.
It's an alarm. I tried really hard.
I know you did. I know you did. All right. Anyone else has any takeaways, comments before we finish up? No? Oh my God, I've got so much going on here, and I want to talk to you later, Misty, because I've got to tell you something that I did at my side hustle the other day.
Nice.
All right. Thank you so much. That is amazing, as always. I always learn so much from Misty, and I've done her classes, and yeah, it's really hard to say no to people or to do that. But when you're in the sales class situation, you do get to practice with other people, which is a lot of fun, sometimes daunting, but it is. And Misty will get you to do it and do it and do it and do it till you get it right.
So really funny, in class we've been practicing just a line of saying, do you need help with that? And then the customer saying no. So we've been practicing rejection for about 3 or 4 weeks, right? Just get used to hearing no, because most of the time you're going to get no. And then learn to let them go. No problems, just let it go. So this week we were practicing the yes answer. When a customer says, yes, I want to buy. And so badly was this done, mostly, that we have to do it for at least next week and probably the week after, because it's amazing how much we turn the customer away when they're waving cash at you, going, I'm ready to buy. Great. Can we book in another meeting somewhere else? Or, okay, can we, like, it's amazing how we will muck that one up as well. And they're standing there waving cash. So, so you do have to practice on both sides, being the yes answers as well, like the no answers and the yes answers. But in class 2, you also get to practice being the salesman and being the customer, so you know what it feels like. And so as a result, when you're on both sides of the table each time, you start to go, oh, is that how it is? The amount of people have come back and said, I can't unhear what you've said. And now you wouldn't believe how this person treated me today. You wouldn't believe what they said to me. You wouldn't believe how the discounts that they were giving. And it was so unnecessary. So I get all these great comments coming back to me all the time about how someone mucked it up with them, and yet it was so simple, they could have just taken my money. So
Absolutely. Yep.
it changes the way you buy as well. So particularly if you're a really big shopper and you want to curb your shopping, come to sales class, because you will change the way you shop based off how people behave around you as well. It's good fun.
It is. That's so true. That's so true. All right. Thank you, Misty. That was so wonderful. Now, do you have a...
So can I say something?
Yes, of course, Kathy. Yes.
My husband was in here listening to a bit of it. He's standing at the door and he's going, that's you, not giving one word answers. He's right. I have so much to take away from tonight. So much.
If anyone really struggles with this, I do coaching sessions. They cost $25, honestly.
Sorry,
Just
the
book in,
service
fix it
isn't
this
very
week.
good.
No, that's okay,
All good.
Kathy. That's okay, Kathy. If anyone really does struggle with this, honestly, just book in for a coaching session. It costs $25. Takes about an hour, and we just fix it. We can get it fixed in 1 hour to just to change the way we do a bit of practice, find out what the problem is, some answers for you, because you all have a different take on the answers, but it can just be fixed this week. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore, because these questions will keep coming up. The same ones will keep coming back from people all the time. You just get good at knowing what it is that you have to practice saying. You get really good at it. And then life is easy, because you'll find that customers are actually there to buy, and we can stop breaking it.
Absolutely. And I agree with that. With my bra fitting business, I always had,
Yeah.
I need to talk to my husband, and I've, learned how to say, okay, great. What do you think he's going to say? And it just makes a huge difference, because they don't expect to hear that coming out my mouth. And it just kind of stops them. And yeah, they do start thinking. And yeah, anyway, all right.